Omarosa had a 6-month affair with former Prime Minister of Turks and Caicos Islands. Omarosa Manigault Newman had a 6-month fling with the scandal-mired leader on a tiny Caribbean nation who was ousted from power and put on trial for corruption over claims he stole $16 million from public coffers, DailyMail.com can reveal. The fired White House aide enjoyed yacht parties, romantic dinners and 5-star hotel getaways with Michael Missick, the controversial former Prime Minister. The Turks and Caicos, a British colony made up of 40 Caribbean islands southeast of the Bahamas. They spent time at the $8 million mansion, nicknamed the White House, which he is now accused of funding through graft, had cozy dinner dates at Harlem's most famous restaurant, and enjoyed an obvious physical attraction. Sources say the pair hooked up more than a decade ago when Missick was in charge of one of the world's hottest celebrity vacation haunts, rubbing shoulders with the likes of Bruce Willis, Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas. The 52-year-old premier was said to have been so impressed with the former Apprentice contestant that he sought her PR advice on how to boost his profile in the U.S., and even consulted her on political decisions. Insiders say the pair dated for 6 months in 2005, with Omarosa regularly visiting the Turks and Caicos and even openly attending public events with Missick. However, she never acknowledged the relationship in the U.S., where she was newly famous as the villain in the 2004 season of The Apprentice, and newly divorced from her first husband, Aaron Stallworth. The Caribbean politician would indeed become famous, but not from making his island nation great. He was forced from office in 2009 when the British government accused him of corruption and imposed direct rule over the chain of 40 small islands an hour's flight from Miami. He fled to Brazil but was extradited and put on trial in December 2015 for fraud, bribery and money laundering in a case that is still dragging on 3 years later, costing an estimated $1 million every month. Their relationship was no secret. Omarosa attended a couple of public events on the island with Mike. No one thought a lot of it, said a well-connected Turks and Caicos source. Mike was single at the time, had a reputation as a ladies' man, and she was a stunning woman. Only a few people on the islands would have recognized her from The Apprentice, and they just seemed like a nice couple. Omarosa, who has dominated headlines this past week with a string of digs at her former mentor Donald Trump, divorced her first husband Aaron Stallworth in 2005. Sources tell DailyMail.com she met Missick later that year at a charity function in New York City, where he was busily courting celebrities in a bid to bring wealth and glamour to his sun-drenched archipelago. The pair are said to have hit it off so well that they headed to the plush Four Seasons Hotel for an intimate weekend together. Missick was so smitten he flew back to New York 1 week later, where the fledgling couple would enjoy further romantic dinner dates at the Sylvia's Harlem restaurant, famous for its soul food and celebrity clientele. Insiders says Omarosa also accompanied Missick to Dubai for an investment conference, staying at the one and only Royal Mirage Hotel where suites cost up to $6,000 a night. Soon after, he invited her and her mother Teresa, who also calls herself Mom Rosa, to visit the Turks and Caicos, where Omarosa and Missick socialized at swank resorts and restaurants. They attended the South Caicos Regatta together with the actress Jasmine Guy, and on the way back the boat got stuck on a sandbar and they were stranded for hours until the tide changed, the source added. I remember Mike saying he had 2 beautiful women on board, plenty of food and drink. The boat was fine, so he wasn't exactly worrying. He said he was disappointed when the tide eventually floated them off. In New York they would dine at Sylvia's, which was one of Mike's favorites, and meet either at the Four Seasons or Mandarin Oriental where Mike usually stayed. But most of the time they just enjoyed each other's company and did the sort of things normal couples do. Missick has campaigned for the Turks and Caicos to become independent from Britain and once vowed to transform the islands into the Monte Carlo of the Caribbean. Insiders say he was particularly wowed by Omarosa's ability to manipulate the media and thought she could help him boost his image in the U.S. and was clearly aware of her relationship to Donald Trump. As well as an obvious physical attraction, there was an intellectual aspect to their relationship, added the source. He described her to friends as an intelligent, spirited, aggressive and single-minded black woman, She was fascinated with politics and he admitted to seeking her advice on his role, particularly with regard to his profile in the American media. Mr. Misak was aware at the time of her ties with Trump and Omarosa clearly admired him. She told Mr. Misak he could be abrasive and rude but was gentler with those he took into his confidence. The tryst is said to have fizzled when Misak began seeing the U.S. actress and model Lisa Ray McCoy, whom he later married in 2006 but divorced 2 years later. Sources say the former couple broke off ties for good after McCoy allegedly confronted Omarosa over their continuing friendship at an NAACP event. Omarosa subsequently began dating Green Mile actor Michael Clark Duncan, who died of a heart attack in 2012. Last year she married John Allen Newman, a pastor who heads a church in Jacksonville, Florida. Reached for comment this week, Misak declined to speak about the 6-month fling but didn't deny that it took place. "I have not seen Omarosa for a number of years and it is not in my nature to comment on previous relationships," he told DailyMail.com. Misak was appointed Prime Minister of the Turks and Caicos in 2003, taking charge of a country with limited infrastructure and few modern amenities. His supporters say he oversaw a period of massive growth, developing hotels, resorts and establishing it as an A-list vacation spot. After a landslide second election win in 2007, he demanded the island's British-appointed governor begin the process towards a referendum on independence from the UK. British officials responded by launching an investigation into Misak that accused him of ushering in massive corruption and a palpable climate of fear.